Everyone knows the Irish crossed the sea to Britain. What almost nobody realises is how deep those roots actually go, and how many places across England, Scotland, and Wales owe their names, their kingdoms, their faith, and even their very existence to people who came from Ireland. We're not talking about the famine ships of the 19th century, though those changed Britain too. We are talking about something far older and far stranger. Irish tribes who carved out kingdoms in Wales. Irish warriors who founded the country now called Scotland and gave it its name. Irish monks who converted half of England. And Irish settlers who left their language carved into stones that still stand in the British countryside 1,500 years later. These are 10 British places with secret Irish roots. And number 1 isn't a town or a village. It's an entire country that most people have no idea was founded by the Irish. This is Dust and Stories. Number 10. Wirral, Merseyside. On the peninsula between the rivers Dee and Mersey, just across the water from Liverpool, lies an area whose place names still carry a secret written in Old Norse and Irish. In the year 902, a group of Vikings, who had been driven out of Dublin by the Irish, arrived on the shores of the Wirral and were granted permission to settle there by the English. But these weren't ordinary Vikings. They had lived in Ireland for generations, intermarried with the Irish, and absorbed Irish culture and language. An old Irish chronicle, known as the Three Fragments, specifically refers to a distinct group among these settlers as Irishmen. They brought Irish Norse names with them, and traces of that settlement survive in the local place names to this day. The Wirral even has a village called Irby, which literally means the settlement of the Irish. Nearby, you'll find Knocktorum, a name derived from Irish Gaelic, meaning the dry hill, and Liscard, which comes from Irish words meaning the hall at the rock. Modern DNA and place name studies have confirmed the scale of this Norse-Irish settlement, showing that the Wirral and neighbouring West Lancashire retained a distinct Scandinavian and Irish-influenced population for generations. 1,000 years later, the ordinary suburban Wirral hides the fingerprints of a community of Irish Norse settlers expelled from Dublin who made a new home on the English coast. Number 9. Dyfed, Southwest Wales. In the far southwest of Wales lies the ancient kingdom of Dyfed, centred on modern Pembrokeshire. And its origins are not Welsh, they're Irish. In the 4th and 5th centuries, as Roman rule in Britain collapsed, an Irish people, known as the Daci, crossed the sea from Ireland and settled in southwest Wales. They didn't just visit, they established a ruling dynasty that governed the kingdom of Dyfed for centuries. The evidence is carved in stone. Southwest Wales is scattered with memorial stones bearing inscriptions in Ogham, the earliest form of Irish writing made up of notches cut along the edge of a stone. These Ogham stones, often carved with both Irish and Latin versions of a name, are direct physical proof of an Irish-speaking ruling class living in Wales 1,500 years ago. An entire Welsh kingdom with Irish kings remembered in an Irish script, still readable on stones standing in Welsh churchyards today. Number 8. Brecknockshire, Wales. Move inland to the mountains of mid-Wales and you find the old kingdom of Brycheiniog, which gave its name to Brecknockshire and the Brecon Beacons. According to tradition, this kingdom was founded by a man named Brychan, the son of an Irish prince who had married a Welsh princess. Breccan's dynasty ruled Brycheiniog, and Brychan himself became legendary for something remarkable. He was said to have fathered an enormous number of children, many of whom became saints, scattered across Wales, Cornwall, and beyond. Whether or not the legends of his vast family are literally true, the core is historically grounded, a kingdom in the Welsh mountains founded by a dynasty of Irish descent. The name of an entire historic Welsh county traces back to an Irish bloodline. Number 7. Glastonbury, Somerset. Deep in the West Country of England, Glastonbury is famous for its abbey, its legends of King Arthur, and its associations with early English Christianity. What is far less known is the Irish thread running through its history. Medieval sources record that Glastonbury had strong connections with Irish scholars and pilgrims, and that St. Dunstan, one of the most important figures in English church history, who became Archbishop of Canterbury in the 10th century, was educated by Irish monks at Glastonbury. The chronicler William of Malmesbury recorded that Irish pilgrims came to Glastonbury in numbers, drawn by its holiness and its learning. In an age when Ireland was known across Europe as the land of saints and scholars, its monks and teachers reached deep into the south of England and helped shape one of the most sacred sites in English Christianity. Number 6. Lindisfarne, Northumberland. Off the northeast coast of England lies the tidal island of Lindisfarne, the Holy Island, one of the most sacred and important sites in all of English history. It was the cradle of Christianity in the north of England and the birthplace of the magnificent Lindisfarne Gospels, and it was founded by an Irishman. In the year 635, an Irish monk named Aidan travelled from the monastery of Iona to Northumbria at the invitation of the Northumbrian king Oswald, who had himself spent years in exile in Ireland and even spoke the Irish language. Aidan chose the island of Lindisfarne as his base and founded the monastery that would become one of the greatest centres of Christianity and learning in Britain. According to the Venerable Bede, Irish monks came daily into Northumbria to preach, and King Oswald himself sometimes acted as interpreter, translating Aidan's Irish accented words for his English subjects. The Christianity of northern England was lit from an Irish flame carried across the sea by a monk from Iona. Number 5. Malmesbury, Wiltshire. In the county of Wiltshire, in southern England, sits the ancient town of Malmesbury, home to one of the oldest boroughs in England and a famous medieval abbey. Its name and its origins trace back to an Irish monk. In the 7th century, an Irish scholar and hermit named Maildubh settled at the site and established a school there. The town that grew up around his settlement took its name from him, Maildubh's Burh, which over the centuries became Malmesbury. His most famous pupil was Saint Aldhelm, one of the great scholars of Anglo-Saxon England. So an entire English town, its name, its abbey, its very existence, grew from the settlement of a single wandering Irish monk who came looking for a quiet place to teach and pray. Number 4. Galloway and the western coast, Scotland. Long before there was a country called Scotland, the southwest of what is now Scotland was heavily settled by the Irish. The region of Galloway and the lands along the western coast received waves of Irish colonists from the earliest centuries of recorded history. The very name of the Gaelic language spoken across Scotland for over 1,000 years came from Ireland, carried across the narrow sea by Irish settlers. Ancient sources record Irish colonies established in Galloway and Cumberland and along the banks of the Mersey. In fact, the connection is written into the land itself. The name Galloway derives from a term meaning the foreign Gaels, a reminder of the Gaelic Irish population that settled there. The saint most associated with early Christianity in the region, Saint Ninian, is recorded as having strong Irish connections, and the whole southwest was so thoroughly shaped by cross-sea traffic with Ireland that the two coasts functioned almost as a single Irish sea world. The Irish influence here was so profound that it fundamentally reshaped the identity, language, and culture of the entire region, laying the groundwork for something even bigger, which we will come to at number 1. Number 3. Cornwall. The far southwest tip of England has a Celtic identity all its own, but woven through it is a distinctly Irish thread. In the 5th and 6th centuries, Irish saints and settlers crossed the sea to Cornwall, and many Cornish towns and parishes are named after them to this day. The town of St. Ives takes its name from St. Aya, an Irish holy woman, who, according to legend, sailed to Cornwall on a leaf, a poetic memory of a real Irish missionary arriving by sea. Other Cornish places bear the names of Irish saints, like Braca and Buriana, both remembered in the towns and churches named for them. The pattern is unmistakable. A wave of Irish holy men and women crossed to Cornwall, founded settlements and churches, and left their names permanently stamped on the map of the English southwest, where they remain today. Some scholars believe these Irish saints were following established sea routes that linked Ireland, Cornwall, Wales, and Brittany into a single Celtic Christian world, a network of trade and pilgrimage across the western seas that existed centuries before England was unified. Every time you see a Cornish town beginning with Saint, there's a real chance you're looking at the memory of an Irish missionary who stepped ashore there 1500 years ago. Number 2. Iona, Scotland. Off the western coast of Scotland lies the tiny island of Iona, one of the most spiritually significant places in the entire history of the British Isles. And it was founded by an Irishman on Irish initiative as an Irish community. In the year 563, an Irish monk and nobleman named Colum Keeley, better known as Saint Columba, left his native Donegal with a small band of followers and sailed across the sea to Iona. There he founded a monastery that would become the powerhouse of Christianity across Scotland and northern England. From Iona, Columba and his successors converted the Picts, crowned kings, and sent out missionaries, including Aidan of Lindisfarne, who carried the faith deep into England. Iona became so revered that Scottish, Irish, and Norse kings were brought there to be buried in its sacred soil. This single tiny island, colonized by a monk from Donegal, became the beating heart of Christianity in the north of Britain. And it was, from its very foundation, an Irish creation. Number 1. Scotland itself. And finally, the greatest secret of all, not a town, not a village, an entire country. The nation of Scotland is named after the Irish. In the Roman period and after, the Latin word for the raiders and settlers who came from Ireland was Scoti, the Scots. That's right, the word Scot originally meant an Irishman. In the 5th and 6th centuries, an Irish people from the kingdom of Dalriada in northeastern Ireland, in what is now County Antrim, expanded across the narrow sea and established a kingdom on the western coast of Scotland in Argyll. Led according to tradition by Fergus Moore and the sons of Erc, these Irish Scots brought their language, their culture, and their name with them. Over the following centuries, the kingdom of Dalriada grew in power, and its Gaelic language spread across the land. And in the 9th century, a king of this Irish-descended dynasty, Kenneth MacAlpin, united the Scots and the Picts into a single kingdom. That kingdom became Scotland. The country's name, its Gaelic language, its founding royal dynasty, and its very identity as the land of the Scots all trace directly back to Irish settlers from County Antrim. Scotland, one of the proudest and most distinct nations in the world, is, at its very origin, an Irish foundation. The Scots were Irishmen, and most people on earth have absolutely no idea. 10 places across Britain, each carrying a secret Irish route that runs far deeper than most people ever realise. The Wirral, settled by Irish Norse exiles from Dublin. The Welsh kingdoms of Dyfed and Brecknockshire, founded by Irish dynasties. Glastonbury, Lindisfarne, and Malmesbury, shaped by Irish monks and scholars. The Irish saints who named half the towns of Cornwall. The island of Iona, founded by a monk from Donegal. And Scotland itself, an entire country whose name, language, and royal line came from Ireland. The Irish didn't just cross the sea to Britain in the 19th century. They were shaping the map of Britain 1500 years ago, and their fingerprints are still there, hidden in plain sight, if you know where to look. Which of these surprised you the most? And if you know of another British place with hidden Irish roots, leave it in the comments. There are more of these than 10, and we'll keep telling them. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.